This conference will now be recorded.
All right, it's 6 o'clock p.m., June the 23rd. The regular meeting of the Rome City Council will come to order. I did have some questions about, and I know I'd gotten notifications from people about this showing posted at 6:25 on the 20th, which doesn't allow for that time would not allow for the 72 hours required by state law. However, Ms. Northrup assures me that it was done earlier and that we are in full compliance, and she's cleared it with Mr. Adkins, the city attorney. Um, all right, so we got a quorum. Call this meeting to order. Start out with the Pledge of Allegiance. Invocation.
Father God, we come before you tonight, thankful for this opportunity to join together and deliberate the city business. Father, I thank you for each and every person represented here, the elected officials that are volunteering their time and dedicating their time and energy and effort, and the citizens that are here to partake and listen as the city council deliberates on city business. And Lord, I thank you for all the staff members at the city of Rome and for everything that they do every day. Father God, I do pray that you would give us a revelation at the power of our words, the power of our words to bless or curse, the power of our words to speak life or speak death. Father God, I pray that we would all examine our hearts and we would all commit to speaking life. In Jesus' name, amen. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Move on to public comments. Shayna, what you got?
Okay, the first one is from Lisa Ann Wilson. It says, my name is Lisa Ann Wilson, 241st. I'm 56 years old, longtime resident of Old Town Rome. Tonight I come before you in a written format as I am, as most people know, am legally blind and protected by the American Disabilities Act. And like any other citizen, I have my own opinions and the right to address the governing body. Our founding fathers gave us the First Amendment right, freedom of speech, and I'm glad they did. The last council meeting, I was denied that right. Tonight, I speak again. Please listen, for I feel I have the right to express my opinion without censorship. We have 3 openings right now: Fire Chief, Public Works Director, and Public Works Employee. As a city, we must be honest and fair in filling these vacancies competitively. These openings should be shown on the Rome webpage as well as TML. If needed, additional vacancy announcements must be posted on other media. Jobs are at a premium, and we may have citizens that might be interested. That is honest and fair way to keep it competitive. We recently had a federal holiday, Why did our employees not take this holiday? I feel it was un-American. We all may not be on the same page politically, but we are united as Americans and as such should honor all federal holidays. About the business advisory focus group meeting that was held but not publicly posted on appropriate web pages for all citizens to attend and participate. What happened to transparency and not secret meetings? What is the purpose of this group, and is it to help reduce the cost of water and sewer rates that are extravagant for our businesses and to help attract new businesses? This is their mission. It's is their mission to also clean up our town? Who are the members and how were they chosen, and are they tax-paying citizens? Are these the same ones who are calling themselves the Economic Development Group? Thank you for listening to my concerns and issues. Please take my words to heart when addressing the above issues. Listen and act accordingly. Thank you and have a blessed night. Lisa Ann Wilson. And next we have Joanne Wilson.
My name is Joanne Wilson. I live at 240 West First Street. Mayor and council members, I would like to call to your attention Attorney General Opinion Number JM-119, 1983, that specifies if a current member of the governing body, and that would be all of you all, who request information from the city in his or her official capacity has full access to the requested information. It also says no fees are charged. While I served as mayor, there were instances where I requested documents that were never made available to me. However, that's a story for another time. However, as you know, that was not legal. Let's do better going forward and not withhold anything from the governing body that was requested in relation to their official duty. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Wilson.
And next we have a letter from Deborah Beecraft. Said, I would like to know why we stopped having the toll-free numbers to call in for virtual attendance at council meetings. In 2020 and 2021, we had a regular number and a toll-free number to use. What is the purpose of making people pay to call to listen to the meeting, especially since some meetings last for several hours? Is this just another way to keep citizens from knowing what's going on? Because some might not be able to afford the phone bill for this. Number 2, what is the purpose of an intern? This is just another misuse of public funds. If we were going to hire contract labor, then maybe you should think about hiring more people for public works since they are grossly understaffed. Number 3, we need to advertise in the paper, on social media, and other places, not just TML, when we have a job opening. By only listing in TML or only promoting from within, we are losing out on the possibility of hiring the most qualified person for the job. Thank you for your time. Deborah Beecraft, 360 West 2nd Street. And next we have Terry Priest.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, and staff. I'm Terry Priest, live at 216 Cheyenne Trail North here in Rome. I'd like to give you an update on the plant sale we had on June 11, 2022. I would like to say it's a flowering success, and I would like to thank the following volunteers who devoted their time, effort, and money to make this project a success. Tommy and Sam Eason, Caitlin Diltz, Josh McCabe, Cassie and Steve Knight, Kathy Coffey, Michelle Ty, Joe Hernandez, and Glenda Mason. And last but not least, my wife, Elaine. I'd also like to thank the individuals and businesses that let me post signs on their property. And last, a big thank you to all the individuals who purchased plants that would make Rome a more beautiful town. Last year, our sale raised $326. This year, we raised $689 for the Rome Beautification Fund. Those of you who want to fact check the numbers, it went like this. Mayor Pro Tem Josh McCabe took $559 from the day of the sale and deposited them with the City Hall on June 13th. I took a $10 bill over to City Hall on 6/20 that came in after the sale date. And also on 6/20, Linda Oakberg, I hope I pronounced that right, representing the Rhome Methodist Church, presented a check for $120 to City Hall that represented the purchase of 12 daylilies after the original plant sale date. The beautification fund is slowly growing. Someday it will make an impact on Rhome long after I'm gone. I just plant the seeds and hope they grow. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Priest.
Next, we have Ashley Majors.
Okay. Speaking up here. All right. Turned in something, but I'm switching it up. I don't know if anybody else received a letter from Dawson, but I received mine today. So here we go. Greeting. Thank you for listening to the residents denying a permit for Dawson to conduct semographic field operations in Rome. You should know that since June 9th, when they took place, Dawson did not waste any time to begin researching out to individual residents with letters and calls to their cell phones. Yes, they are calling their cell phones. Here's a letter that I received today from Mr. Gary Gresham, the permit agent. Some old friends and neighbors also received a letter as well. We remain uninterested. Please consider implementing a city ordinance once to prevent this type of operations within Rome. Please, council, I ask that it be added to the next agenda to where we do not have drilling within Rome. You have already denied the permit. Now you have to take control of the following next steps to keep Rome safe and protect them for the future repercussions that these operations may hold. Take action and advocate for the community as a whole. Let's not let the handful, if any, of the residents be misled into thinking these operations will benefit them into a long run. The one-time payment of $25 per resident does not support or outweigh the risk of future fracking at the expense of our homes, livelihood, roads, and community. So that's the first one. Second one, with the construction outside, it would be nice to have an update on the bridge or anything, or little presents as well. So that's it. And then also on the summer intern, if the staff needs it, as long as it's someone that can do the minimal work that needs to be done in the office, and to where it's not going to take away from being the girls having to train them. So I did not see it in the packet, so I could have done research on it. It didn't say if it was for the city hall or if it was for public works. It did not say anything. It just said summer intern. So, but if it is for you ladies and Christy or Julie or Bobby, just please make it minimal so you could get all of your rest of day-to-day work and you're not having to train. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Majors.
Next, we have Tommy Eason.
Good evening to all. My name is Tommy Eason and I live at 1107 Mount Lane. I have listened to some people of this town say over and over that the mayor's rights have been taken away. I would like to go back in time to remind citizens of when that happened and who was responsible for the change. City Council minutes, special session, September 29th, 2014. Council members present were Mayor Pro Tem Charles Pennington, Council members Joanne Wilson, Michelle Pittman, David Wilson, and Ronnie Moore. At 7:01, a motion was made to go into executive session on Section 551.0 071, Powers of the Mayor. At 10:40 p.m., the executive session came back to regular meeting. The Mayor Pro Tem asked the city attorney if he had any suggestions on what could be done. Walt Leonard said, 1, limit the hiring and firing of department heads. That will be through the city council. 2, discipline and firing decisions may be appealed to the city council at the next regular session. 3, overtime for all employees will be authorized by the department heads as per the policy of the mayor, council, and the department budgets. The motion was made and everyone agreed except for Michelle Pittman that abstained. This meeting was the last time any restrictions were made on any powers of the mayor. So the next time I hear about a mayor not having rights, I will just say, go talk to the people that changed it. Or is it that when it suits you and you have your friend as mayor, you want to expand the powers of the mayor? And if it is not your friend, keep it the way it is. I do have copies of the meeting minutes if you would like to see them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Eason.
Unless we have Randall Loftus.
Randall Loftus, 315 West Morris Street, Rome, Texas. I'm here to talk about preserving dark skies. And this has, and what's going on here is that this pamphlet has examples of acceptable light fixtures for preserving dark skies. I'm not saying an additional investment for this. I'm just saying going forward, as infrastructure is replaced or installed, then please consider keeping our skies dark. I will leave this pamphlet. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Loftus.
Then on public comments.
Very good. Then announcements from Mayor and Council. Chief Daryl Fitch, retirement, Thursday, June 30th, 2022, from 2 to 4, and City Hall will be closed during that period of time. Planning and Zoning meeting, July 11th, 2022, at 6 p.m. City Council meeting, July 14th, at 6 p.m. And Touch a Truck event, Rhome Family Park, July 18th, 2022, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And I just have a brief announcement as well over things that I've observed since I've been sitting in this chair. Out of respect for the time of all members of this panel, either elected or employed, I encourage all participants to extend professional courtesy to your colleagues by limiting your individual commentaries to 15 minutes or less on any given agenda subject. Thank you. Any other announcements? Okay. Then we'll go on to regular agenda, new business. A, discussion and any necessary action regarding certificate of appreciation for outgoing Fire Chief Daryl Fitch, and that'll be Mayor Pro Tem Josh McCabe.
Thank you. And actually, I think he just got a call, so he just left. So in your packet, you have a certificate of appreciation. So I would like to motion that we approve that. And along with it, I just want to thank Chief Fitch for the many years of dedication to this fire department. He's definitely turned this department around, not only with the training, but he's also gone above and beyond with his grant searches, his working with other departments to obtain much needed equipment and things that the city couldn't afford on their behalf. His leadership, his experience, I know he was well respected within not just the county, but all of North Texas. When Rome was called out on some of these more important jobs, they called Chief Fitch and his guys to come out and do the work. So thank you, Chief Fitch, but also Miss Fitch and the entire Fitch family for allowing us to use him. I know he's part-time paid, but he was definitely working double overtime and more. So thank y'all for letting us use him, and hopefully y'all get some more time out of him now. So With that, that's a motion to approve.
Okay.
And all in favor? I believe Ty did. Oh, Kathy did. Very good. All right, on to next item, B, review, discussion, and any necessary action regarding recent Business Focus Advisory Group meeting, and that'll be the city administrator.
Thank you, Mayor. Over the last few years, in alignment with the Comprehensive Development Plan, Council has been planning for economic development and exploring several options. So last year, the Council discussed the creation of a business-focused advisory group made up of Rhome businesses to involve them in the planning efforts. Creating the business-focused advisory group and appointing Mayor Pro Tem McCabe, Councilmember Priest, to work with the city administrator, and this happened in September 9th of 2021 and October 14th of 2021. A survey was created, and the first business focus advisory group met December 7th in 2021, and the second group met June 13th, 2022. We've gotten a lot of good feedback from those meetings. Again, those meetings are all the businesses. A list was created of all the Rhome businesses that we know of, and there was a lot of work done to hone that list, making sure that we had all the accurate contact information, making updates as we were advised of additional businesses, or if mail came back, updating addresses. So. Some of the feedback that has come out of those groups have been in beautifying Rhome, and that takes a lot of different forms. So code compliance is one area. Public art is another area that's been discussed. Promoting Rhome businesses and highlighting the assets that we have as far as our businesses go here in Rhome. Exploring the benefits of a chamber, and exploring events and community involvement. So the after reports from both of those meetings are included in the packet for you all. And one of the items I think that seems to be an easily accomplished action item of the group would be to create a web page that lists our area businesses, Rhome businesses, and Rhome events. So that's one of the things we're looking for council feedback on. And I don't know if Josh or Elaine, if you have any other items that you want to discuss.
I do have one question. Could that web page be just part of the City of Rome, like a subsection, something like you could click on it? And...
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. We would create the page under, there is an economic development page. It may go there. I mean, what we'll do is, as far as the website goes, it may be under the About page as well, but then we would have a couple of places that point it to the page on the website.
Yes. So, as Cynthia stated, that was one of the suggestions from the businesses. Not only that, a lot of cities have them, but by people visiting Rome, they can see what restaurants are in town, what churches are in town, what things to go to. And one of the members was the assistant manager from Big Z. And for 5 years running, I think they've been voted best burger in Wise County. Well, why are we not, promoting that and showing off our businesses in town? And so that was just a suggestion of a way to be able to promote our businesses. For the new members on the council, this was created not for those of us on council joining it, but eventually it's going to be only ran by the businesses. The businesses are going to take over similar to an EDC. They're going to get more involved in the community, whether it's putting on events or giving back to the community or assisting somehow, and that's what these discussions are for. And so, like we said, the first meeting, I think we had 4 or 5 people. This time we had a full room of people, and we're inviting more and more. So really, it's any and all businesses, churches in town that can give back to the community, but also benefit from what's here. So we're listening to everybody. Elaine, do you have anything you wanted to add on that? So then, if everybody's okay with it, I would motion to approve creating a subsection of our website to include businesses, churches, whatever other entities may fit into that group on there.
I second that.
And events. Okay.
All in favor? C, discussion and any necessary action regarding board and commission appointments for the Parks and Recreation Board and Planning and Zoning Board. This is Ms. Odom.
I'll take it for her. So this is the annual appointment season, if you will. We have had advertisements out on Facebook and on the website, letting people know that we've got vacancies. Right now, we on P and Z, we have 3 terms. If you look in your packet, you'll see that 3 terms expire this year, and 2 of those folks are wanting to be reappointed, and that would be Steve Knight, the chair, and Christy King. We also have Christy Nearing Cox, whose term is expiring. However, she is still willing to serve, but she does not live inside the city of Rome. Now, Carvin has said that she can continue to serve until we appoint someone in her stead. We do also have a vacant spot that is an unexpired term. So it will be, it is renewed in 2023. So we have received an applicant for P&Z, and that's Mr. Randall Loftus, so we appreciate that. And my recommendation, you guys can do it another way if you want, but because we don't have any alternates, if you guys appoint him to the term that expires in 2023, and then if we can get somebody else, it would be in that Christy Nearen's Cox spot. Otherwise, she's still willing to serve, and so we would have a full P and Z. We do have quite a few items that are coming down the pike that we need to make sure that we've got a full commission that can vote and get those items moving along to the council. As far as the park board, we've got 2 vacant expired terms and 1 vacant unexpired term. So essentially, we've got 3 vacancies. Unfortunately, right now, we don't have, we'll still advertise, but we don't have any recommendations at this point because we don't have any applicants for you all to appoint.
So I believe we're going to need a motion to appoint Mr. Loftus.
And make a motion
P&Z.
to fill the vacancies on Parks and Rec and P&Z per staff's recommendations, as well as keep it open for any vacancies for people to apply as well.
Okay. I thought that was the standing where we stood anyway. No?
Well, I understood his motion to be basically he didn't want to repeat everything I just said, so he said so moved.
Okay. Second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So do we want to appoint Mr. Loftus? Do I hear a nomination on that?
That included
That was part of the staff recommendation to appoint him, yes.
Okay. Ty was the second on that? No, you were the second. Thank you. Okay. Discussion, any necessary action regarding resolution authorizing continued participation with the Atmos City Steering Committee, and that's City Administrator.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and council members, this is something that you do every year for Atmos and for Encore. We're a member of both, and essentially what the Atmos City Steering Committee membership is it protects the authority of municipalities over the monopoly of natural gas providers and defends the interest of the residential and small commercial customers within these cities. So one of the benefits of being involved in this, of the work that has been taken by the committee, is that it has saved ratepayers millions of dollars in unreasonable charges. So this is something that you have been a member of for several years. And for Atmos, they do it on a per capita basis, and it's 5 cents per capita, which is, you'll see the invoice in your packet, it's $79.
This is, as she stated, just a ministerial item, so I motion to approve the resolution authorize continued participation with the steering committee.
I second.
All in favor? Discussion and any necessary action regarding City Secretary Shana Odom to be added as signatory for all Wells Fargo and Pinnacle accounts.
So Mayor and Council, this is you guys have authorized 4 signers on the account, and they are made up of 2 staff members and 2 elected official members. So by position, those are the city administrator and the city secretary on the staff side, and the mayor and mayor pro tem on the elected side, with the mayor and the city administrator being the primary signers. These so every check that is written in the city of Rome is signed by 2 people, 1 elected person and 1 staff person. So while the city, you guys have authorized the city secretary to sign those checks, since Shana has been appointed, we need to actually specifically designate her as the authorized signer for the bank, for Pinnacle and Wells Fargo accounts.
Again, this is ministerial. I motion to approve updating signatories to add Ms. Odom to the Wells Fargo Pinnacle accounts.
Second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Discussion, any necessary action regarding a summer intern, and that's Councilmember Priest.
Thank you, Mary. I've in the past, I've had the opportunity to work with college seniors or soon-to-be graduates in their specific fields that helped us for short-term general clerical, general basic things that needed to be done. Because they were specializing in the same field of what we were doing, it saved some of the training efforts. And also, it also gave us the ability to not spend a whole lot of money because they're more reasonable taking a short-time summer job. And also that there are no benefits that go with that because it is a part-time position. So with that experience, I just wondered, this is a discussion. I just wondered if there wasn't some way, and I think that Ashley Majors really had some insight into that. We've had a lot of turnover. We've had a lot of turnover in the administrative section, and there's been a lot of effort going on trying to train the new employees as they come in. And of course, we're still looking for new employees. So I wondered if that was might be beneficial, especially to the administrative staff and the clerical staff of each of the departments wherever the need was greatest, and maybe work with one of the colleges or universities. We've been working with UT at Arlington, for example, that kind of knows us and knows what we're about. So I was just wondering if that might be a helpful thing that was cost efficient and then useful for a short term. And of course, I would depend on administrative staff to let us know what you feel about that.
Are you asking me?
I'm asking if I may be.
Okay. Well, yes, I would. I mean, it is common for cities to have interns in various departments. On the administrative side, um, I mean, if this is something that the council would support, I would recommend that we would go to the MPA programs, Master of Public Administration students that are, they always are looking for cities in the last, as they're graduating in the last year of their classes to get experience at cities. And normally the position is called management analyst, and it's a very broad category. So they would be helping in clerical, but it being, economic development, community development, finance, accounting, filing. It's an opportunity for them to learn firsthand what happens, how local government operates on the internal side. And yes, they would have some interaction and see if there's special projects, at the fire department or at Public Works or the police department as well. So um, I think it could be beneficial. These are going to be higher level students that have an interest in serving in local government. Uh, so it's somebody that it's not just somebody looking for a job. They really want to get experience with local government and how it operates. So,
Well, but is the balance of that? I understand that they're wanting practical experience toward their degree, but I'm speaking practically. What do we need? What work is it that we need to get done that's going to be helpful um, to get some backlog taken care of?
well, like I said, I mean, it's just hard. If you ask me what I did today or what Shayna did today, I mean, it varies all the time. I mean, we're taking phone calls, we're answering questions, we're working on accounting issues, we're, copying, we're researching, looking up information. I mean, and that, so they would have that exposure, absolutely. And there would be some training involved, of course. But a lot of it is, clerical office work, but there's special projects. I mean, working on the business focus advisory group, taking time to make sure that we've got all the businesses. Do we really have all the businesses? I mean, I know we've worked on it, you all have worked on it, and I've worked on it as well, but that's something that, they could have done to help.
So with your background in working with these interns, generally, what's what's I suppose it's an hourly wage.
Yes. Yes.
And so what do you see as what that wage might be?
Well, yeah. I mean, I would recommend $13 an hour, which is very low, but it is an intern. Um, but even though it's low, and especially, with today, I mean, these interns, they can get, a lot of cities are, probably paying 15 or or more, an hour for these management analyst interns. Just as reference, when we hired a part-time permits clerk, I mean, we were only paying them 13.26, something like that, an hour. Um,
So do you see this as being 30 hours a week, or to keep that as a part-time, so don't get in a full-time situation, or what would what do you see as far as the workload and the productivity that you're looking for in a 2-month period?
I mean, I'm probably going to say, I mean, for 2 months, you're probably talking, maybe 20 hours. I mean, no, I wouldn't think 30. Um, you know, yeah, I wouldn't think 30 hours.
I know when we go out to hire anyone, we're looking at the uh, job description of what the person's going to be doing. I think this is something, I think it's a good idea to have an intern. I know that all the departments could probably use some help, but we don't have a job description for an intern per se. So I think before making that decision, I would like to see staff come back with some sort of model on how many hours a week are we looking at, do some research as into pay per hour. They can do A, B, C, D this week or fire department this week. Some sort of job description, some sort of work model that substantiates why we would have an intern. So that would be my recommendation on this discussion coming out of it.
Well, I can do that. I'll bring it back. I mean, we did already kind of develop that, but I can bring it back to you all. I mean, I wasn't sure where this was going, so.
Well, I wasn't sure where it was going. I mean, this was discussion. And so I just needed to ask you detailed questions, but the questions that I needed to ask you, everybody needed to hear the discussion, and so first I wanted to see if you thought it was beneficial. Otherwise, we didn't really need to talk about it. So um, that was why I asked to have it on the agenda.
I guess for me, for an intern, which I think is a great idea, I mean, yeah, pay is important, but I guess for me, I'm worried about finding, if we're looking for a college kid that's going to stay here in Rome, future. And to me, it's worth investing in making sure that he learns what you guys learn. And so to me, the interview process, making sure we're getting the right student, not just hiring some old willy-nilly, getting their education and whatever. It needs to be, they need to be in line with what you guys want them to do, in
Right.
hopes that they stay here.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. And that's why I said we would recruit from, the graduate programs for the public administration. So these would be master level students that want a career in local government. That's who the target would be.
So for me, I guess we just need to figure out the wage. I don't think that's a big issue. But having them waste time on figuring out what the job description, I mean, that should be pretty easy. That's what you guys do, correct? What's that? Let's wrap it up in there. Get a college kid to do it. I don't know that having them waste time research all that information is good time on their part when they're already swamped.
I get that. My thought is before we go hire an intern, we need to know more of an exact cost. Is it $13 an hour
No, I
for
agree.
30 hours a week? That kind of background information as well as a job description.
But we have a
So-
pretty good idea what they want to do. There shouldn't be a whole lot.
Right. But they're going to have to research the time and the how many hours and what it's going to cost us.
Let's just project hours and wage. I mean, we obviously know what they're going to do. That's not difficult.
Well, at $13 an hour for a 30-hour week, that's right at $400 a week.
Yeah, I would say 20, but that would be 360.
Well, if we figure 30 and shoot for 20, I was just
Well,
giving
that's true.
you know how it is. You round up because something that always happens. But so it would be something less than that, between $400 and $600 a week, depending on the number of hours. How's that? So, what are you thinking, Patrick? You want us to?
Well, I mean, 20 hours and we come up with a decent wage. I mean, unfortunately, things are tough nowadays.
Mhm.
An example is my girlfriend works in banking and they are struggling just to get higher tellers to sit there and just do money stuff. So to commit someone to come in and if they're going to be, I don't know the level of responsibility, but you know, we're definitely not to make it 13, 14,
So,
potentially plus. I hate to say it, but to get someone in if we want to be reliable. And then hopefully, is the idea is to keep them here when they graduate.
so are you want to make a motion?
What, I guess what I mean, as far as like hiring it, getting an intern, but we don't know what Cynthia wants to pay for now.
Well, we can always authorize the city administrator to do the search and enter into negotiations with an intern. And then before she goes and hires them, she would come back and say, this is what I've got at
Okay,
this and this. And
then I guess I'd propose for Cynthia to, again, I'm sorry, to
Search and negotiate.
search and negotiate for a summer intern. I think we're already running late anyways, considering it's about ready to be
Yeah,
July.
I would think that most kids
So-
that are getting out of school, they've probably already found jobs elsewhere.
Yeah, so
This
I mean, I
time.
think we're running late, but if anything, let's get this. So potentially next year, we're gonna have this lickety split. Right as college is getting out, we can take care of this. But let's just try.
Well, so one thing I would say, I mean, instead of saying summer intern, maybe we just say intern.
Okay, so
Because these people that are going through the master's program for public administration, I mean, they may have started in the January semester. So even in October, or September, when they're starting another semester, they may want to intern then too. So it doesn't have to be limited just to the summer.
So I
I'll
guess-
second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next item, discussion necessary action regarding facility options. That's going to be Priest and the city administrator, Cynthia Northrup.
Council members, big topic. You guys have been talking about this for quite a while. During the vision budget workshop, we presented a conceptual plan after, the different workshops that we had, listening to citizens, listening to you guys. And so you have that information in your packet. I did give that information to the newly elected folks after they got elected as well, along with the vision budget PowerPoint. So essentially, in the short term, I mean, some of the feedback that we got was to be fiscally conservative, to phase in these different approaches and solutions. And so I think in the short term, what we talked about was basically, and just with the caveat of knowing that the departments, it's hard on departments to move from building to building. And so moving police maybe over to this building or city hall or whatever in the interim before potentially the public safety facility gets done over in Rolling V. They would rather maybe stay put a little bit longer. And so really it's addressing those critical health and safety issues in each of the buildings that we have on the short term. And we have done, and this is one of the things that's controversial, I know, but you can look at the economy and what's happened in the last 2 years. It's been crazy. And the inflation, I mean, I just talked to somebody with our property and liability insurance and preparing for the budget next year, and the CPI factor that they're using is 16% increase in that. And so when you look at our facilities, you have in there also, and these were done February 20th of 2021. They've been sitting there for a year, so who knows what else might be wrong. But you have our third-party inspector came in and did an inspection of each of the facilities, and they identified the different items that needed to be addressed. We did get one ballpark quote from someone. At the time, it wasn't everything. For example, it wasn't everything on the fire list there that you see, but you were looking at just under 50,000. But that was not including the bathrooms and the ADA. You'll see I included some information in your packet that once, if we spend over $50,000 on a facility, that basically is the threshold that will require us to uh, get our buildings ADA compliant. And those fixes are very expensive. So it's not chump change. So those are decisions, you all need to really, think about and let us know. If we were to take, okay, police, fire, and public works, I think there's consensus that those are the worst, in the worst shape. And so, and prioritize those, whether that's PD, fire, public works, or fire, PD, public works. It's how either one of those is how I think staff would probably quantify those as priority. Using um, sales tax money, um, but doing the buildings one at a time, because we don't know how much extra. We do have extra right now in sales tax, but we don't know how much extra. So we would want to go one building at a time and fix that building. And then once that's done in a month and a half, we'll have a little bit more, we'll have another month of sales tax returns. If you listen to the economic conditions, I mean, you know, there's a lot of doom and gloom being promoted right now and talked about as far as the economy really going south like 2008, 2009 levels. So I wouldn't want to spend all of what we think we might get. I mean, we could have, up to 300,000 in extra sales tax funds for this year, but it could end up being 150,000 or 200,000. So if you went building by building, then, that way, we're making sure that we're not overspending that sales tax. And then for next year, remember, if you're going to continue that, I mean, if every building is 100,000, that's including the ADA, then, and I'm just throwing those figures out, I don't know, then that's it's 300,000. Even if we had 200,000 for this year, anything that you use from sales tax next year will not fund general fund operations. And so the city of Rome relies heavily on sales tax. Our property tax is lower than other cities anyway, but one of the reasons is because we take some of the sales tax and we lower that impact of property taxes for your ad valorem taxes. Um, so just keep in mind that, and we actually have, when you look at the revenue in the budget and the percent, I mean, where it comes from for general fund, more revenue comes from sales tax than from property tax. And it's a good thing when the economy is doing great, but sales tax, cities don't like to have a large percentage or a larger percentage of their budget funded by sales tax because it is volatile. And then if it goes away and you only have your property tax, there's going to be severe problems. So just be cognizant of, if you're using projected revenue next year from the sales tax, that anything you use from that will be a cut basically to the general fund operations, if that makes sense, hopefully. And I know that's a lot of information for the new folks, but I'm open to answer any questions.
I do have questions. You would know that. Okay, so one of the questions that I wanted to ask about this building is that is municipal court back live still virtual? Any any forecast on that? Is that going to stay this way?
Well, Christie's been, talking with the judge, but no, not right now. There's no forecast. I mean, on when that might happen.
Okay. And so this room back here that's got stuff all over the table where we used to have closed session, is there a reason that we can't have closed session back there?
A reason we can't have closed session back there?
Mhm.
No, there's not. I mean, the only, if there's a reason, it would be when we're back there and people are out here, sometimes people can hear out here what's going on back there.
Well,
So it's a
you know,
privacy issue.
well, it's so hot, and then in the winter it's so cold, and we expect them to go outside and wait on us to get through. I don't think that's exactly right. So that's why I was asking. I thought maybe something was wrong with the room or something.
No, it's just a privacy issue.
Okay. So maybe we just need to play music in here while we're in closed session.
We can do that.
Okay. All right. I was, because I just wanted to see, how municipal court would be affected and with, because this bathroom is not compliant and folks getting in and all that kind of stuff. But if that's not an immediate need, um, so as far as Grant Works is concerned, they understand that we're expecting them to be looking at any grant that might be helpful to us as far as our facilities.
Absolutely, and I have had conversations with them. Unfortunately, there was a potential opportunity, but it didn't pan out,
Okay.
unfortunately.
Okay.
And so but they are looking, and I have shared exactly what we're trying to do. Talked about from an economic development perspective, the city hall, if that were going to be used as, a meeting space, and it's, historical nature, but actually that, I say historical, and it's got a historical marker. It's not a historical building, but the historical marker doesn't necessarily play in our favor as far as finding money for it.
So when you mentioned the $50,000 number, so that we didn't have to tackle all the ADA issues right now, so would we be, for example, allowed to spend $50,000 on one building and do what we can with that, and then go to building number two as far as those priorities that you mentioned, spend 50,000, building number three, do the same thing, and then we could reassess and see if there's more that we could do, and again do that $50,000 number so we can give ourselves some room and not have to dish out a whole bunch of cash at one time.
Yes, I think that would probably be the strategy that would be wise to do.
All right.
But it still would be one at a time.
Yes.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. So the reason that we need to make this decision is so we can get this in our budget. But the first building, do we have enough cash on hand to get started on one of these buildings, the one that is in most need? And then put the other 100,000, let's say, or maybe 150,000 in the upcoming budget. Can we do that?
Well, I think, I mean, we're doing, I'm getting the budget together now. We don't get final numbers until the end of July. We've got to decide the budget, basically, in August and September. And the short answer is yes, but right now we have $109,000 extra because again, every year we're conservative in our estimates for sales tax, because isn't it a nice problem to have that it's over, right? We got more and we have an extra 100,000. And so I want to do that again for next year's budget. I do want to, and because again, I think the economy, we need to be conservative. So the bottom line is you have 100,000 right now. We've got 3 more months of sales tax that will be coming in. So, by the time we're done, I'll have concrete numbers I can give you that you can make decisions with. But if the general idea is to take each building one at a time, up, keep it under 50,000, so we don't trip that trigger. We can do that, take that approach. We do have the money now. It does qualify as an emergency expenditure because remember that's a budget. That is a true. If we do this, that's a true budget amendment where you're changing the bottom line. So that will be a budget amendment we'll have to bring back for you guys to approve on each one, but I would do it one at a time. But if staff knows that this is the plan, then we can proceed. So all we need from you is it, PD, fire, public works, or is it fire, PD, public works?
Well,
So, but my question with that, keeping it under 50,000, who's responsible for getting those quotes to repair the buildings? And are we doing a bidding process on that?
Yes.
That we can see, even though it's under 50,000?
Absolutely.
Okay,
We'll,
I'm just
it's
curious. Yeah.
required.
Yeah, I mean, staff does that. That's what we do. I mean,
Okay.
we have to, those are procurement policies that we have in place. But yeah, so we would definitely get quotes. Now, if it's under the other thing, I mean, the 50,000 mark is the mark for going out for an RFP. Okay, so if we stay under 50, we don't have to do an RFP. And if we stay under 50, we don't trip the ADA requirement. So that's why we would still get quotes. We would get competitive quotes, at least 3, if not more, for the jobs.
And then we would make the decision on who does the work?
Well, by law, it's the lowest and best. But yes, we would bring those to you to make that decision. But you make that decision based on the law, and the law says the low and the best.
Really? You can't review the company, and if they realize that they're a
Well, there are, yeah,
crappy company, that you don't want to go with them?
there's some situations where you can look at that, but that's the best part.
Okay. I was trying to understand it.
Yeah, I understand. It's that's government.
Okay, the next questions that I have are, we've talked about other ways to deal with facilities besides the grants and spending this plan that we were just talking about here. So what do we need to do? How do we get to the point where we say, you know what, we want to work with PMB with their offer to donate land and the $1 million? Is that something that we need to make a decision on and then make a motion and say that's what we want to do, or what do we do with that?
Well, I assume that's what you wanted to do. If we can get free land and $1 million towards a public safety. So those conversations are underway, as I've discussed with you all. I mean, the next step there is to bring an agreement for y'all's consideration on that.
And so you're already working on that. So until that draft of an agreement comes back to us, that's the moment in time that the city council would make a decision.
Right.
Okay. All right. Then we've talked in part about another option for us to address the facilities. is to actually sell the entirety of the school property. We've already had an appraisal done, and that we would have a clause in there that would allow us to then go ahead with the sale, but we could rent these facilities until we had other facilities to move into.
We'd have to, yes, we'd have to negotiate that at the time. So hopefully, we find somebody that is really, I mean, interested in the whole property, but maybe more interested in the school. And then, can wait a little bit for some of these other areas. Um,
So in order to do that, of course, that's going to take action for the city council to do that. But do you see this as being something that would be listed through a real estate company? How would that, if we decided to do that, how would that sale get in motion?
Well, yeah, that's executive session, discussion as far as strategy on how to do that
Okay,
the best way.
all right. Do we have any thoughts, and maybe this is another closed session item, but for the public works, we know that we have dirt, but that dirt needs work. And so do we have an estimate or a thought on what that dirt work might cost us?
Well, yeah, and I thought it was in here, but maybe it's not. I thought I put it in there, but it's gonna be. I mean, an estimate. I mean, a metal building is gonna be, 100,000, 150,000. Who knows right now, actually, with the prices that have gone up. But a metal building is going to be, and then finishing out will be a cost. But the dirt work, if you've been over to the East Wastewater Treatment Plant, essentially one of the equalization bins, basins was that whole area behind the East Wastewater Treatment Plant. So it's literally looks like a retention pond that's empty. So all that has to be filled with dirt, compacted. It's a lot of dirt work, and so the estimate was 2.5 million for that.
For the dirt work?
For everything, for the dirt work, for the foundation, for the metal building, for the finish out of the metal building. And keep in mind, I mean, some of it would be expandable. So, meaning maybe we wouldn't finish out a portion of it because one of the conversations amongst staff has been a second public, police fire over at Rolling V. And then that would be a second location for fire that would be on the other side of the railroad tracks. That you guys, there's been conversation about that.
Okay. So, I've asked all my questions. I know that was a lot, but it's we've tried to whittle this down and whittle this down, but in order to come up with our budget and know what we're going to do. So, does anybody have any thoughts on a motion to at least get us started on the first building?
I do have a question. Where you were looking at the budget for the police department to kind of fix it up, do all this stuff to it, because we're needing to get other officers in for Rolling V. Could we make the police department a priority with those funds and then maybe supplement salary for the police department since we're one of the lowest police departments paid in Wise County? I mean, they're trying to find qualified officers and they're not going to be able to if they're being paid low.
Right. And, well, you have that citywide, unfortunately. As far as that goes, everybody is paid 60% or less of the market average. But tonight, so that's going to be something that you all have to decide during the budget conversations, right? So I've already gotten information that your priorities are facilities, employee salaries, and then I think some of the fire department items that were presented to you. So if you're wanting extra equity adjustments, is what I heard you say, um, for police, then that's something, that the council's going to have to give me direction on. I would recommend, and I'm, you know, city administrator, your staff, that it's really every employee here, um, is underpaid. And it is hard to get police officers. It's hard to get, I mean, we have a public works technician that's been vacant since last year. Um, we had a city secretary vacancy that was vacant for a long time before, I basically took another approach and kind of reorganized. And, we have what we have, which is going great. So we're doing okay, but I'm just saying, um, everybody is struggling across the departments.
Yeah, I understand. I was just throwing it out there. I mean, police, you want that police officer to be qualified
Oh, yeah.
because that's, that's a life or death thing, I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And so the good news is that with the rolling V agreement for police and fire that you all approved, we are, able to get the full-time firefighter paid for and the full-time uh, police officer paid for. Um, and uniforms, car, computers, all of that. So that's going to be helpful. So again, that's another, it's not, I'm always willing to have feedback, but um, right now it's, facilities is what we need feedback on how you want to move forward. I still want feedback, and we'll have more budget conversations as far as more definitive direction from you all. I think I got some general, so I'm going to be bringing you, at the end of July, a preliminary budget with what I heard from you, and present that to you for your consideration, and then more discussion.
So really what you're needing out of this discussion is for us to rank these 3 buildings. So y'all know where to start, right?
Right, and then just authorize staff to move forward in getting those quotes, and we'll bring those back to you. When we bring those back to you, we'll also bring a budget amendment that you guys will have to approve to allow us to move forward with that.
So the question for us is trying to decide which building to go first, because all 3 buildings are equally failing right now. My thought process on this is we only have how many public works working out of that office right now? 2. Okay. Both are male, no female.
We have 4 full-time employees, but unfortunately 2 are vacant.
Right. So I think they're at the bottom of the list. Our fire department, our police department, both have female officers, but no female heads, spaces, female showers. You laugh, but this is the serious conversation.
No.
That's all right. The only difference there is our police department, they don't have people sleeping there or, napping there, eating there. Our fire department does. They have a break room with a couple of beds, and we have those the semi-paid positions and whatnot. So my thought is the fire department needs to come first, because it's more of a health hazard that people are sleeping in what they have right now. So to me, I think it would go fire department, police department, then public works. And I've seen they've all made their own improvements. I think the police department has come a long way in the improvements that they have made. Luckily, they don't spend a whole lot of time in the office. They're mostly in the cars. I know they're always out there in the community. But I think fire department needs to come first.
I guess you do. Yeah.
I second that.
Well, It wasn't a motion. It was just my idea. But
Oh, I like your idea.
if y'all are in favor of it, then I would say make a motion that the rankings are fire department, police department, public works, and we authorize city staff to go out for um, quotes on upgrading the issues with those buildings.
Is there a second?
Yes. I second that.
Okay, very good. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, last discussion and any necessary action regarding movies in the park.
So we were contacted, and there's companies that do these, but we were contacted by a company, and as I was looking at that and looking at the pricing to do movies in the park, I just wanted to bring that to the council's attention. I know there's been a lot of conversations about doing events. I think this would be a low budget, and it wouldn't even be a budget. I'm not proposing a budget. It is, so just so you know, the pricing, if we were to do it at the Rhome Family Park for 125 people, would be $700, and plus the licensing for whatever movie, and that can be anywhere from $200 to $500. But if that's something that council wants to explore, we could see if we could go out to the community and see if we could get donations for that. And maybe if you do 3 of them, you get a 10% discount. And so maybe you do one September, October, or do 2 of them September, October, when it's a little bit cooler. So I just wanted to bring that to you guys for your consideration. If it's something you want us to explore, great. If not, we'll leave it.
So with that pricing, did you go out and look at what other companies would charge just
No.
to see?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I can, but I think it's going to be pretty similar.
I think we need to get back to the part of it being volunteers. My friend over in Newark, they started a series. Well, Boyd's been doing movies in the park for a while, but everything's in-house. They do have their own equipment, and they get donations for their snow cone truck that comes and their popcorn. And then basically it's a matter of, you bring your lawn chair. There's no charge for it, but it takes the burden. It takes the burden off the city taxpayers having to fund it. My friend over in Newark, they just recently had a movie in the park that was, they had a great turnout with it, and they borrowed equipment from Boyd, which is, I mean, it wouldn't hurt to reach out to other people, to other cities, and because they are willing to step up and help rather than just continuing to put money into these things. The Easter egg hunt, that was a handful of volunteers. Somebody donated eggs, and somebody, 2 or 3, sat around and stuffed them with candy. We borrowed a bunny suit from Newark. Of course, nobody would wear it. So I'm a good sport. Anyway, but it didn't cost taxpayers a dime. In fact, I believe Ashley paid $75 to rent the park, or for a special use permit. Did you not? Okay. But it didn't cost taxpayers a dime. And we had probably, I guess the total was, they said there was about 180 kids that showed. So I just support anything that takes off the burden on the taxpayers.
Well, like I said, I wasn't proposing that it would come out of the budget. It would be trying to find donations. But if Boyd's willing to share the equipment, there you go. That's even better.
Well, that's just, we have to be able to reach out, and it seems like for so long, Rome has been so isolated from our neighbors. And we have good neighbors that are willing to step up to the plate and help us when they can. And that's all I'm trying to point out. I don't want to get into a lengthy discussion about it. Do you need a motion, or what do you want to do with this? Just no motion and let it go?
It's up to the council.
Well, I have a question. Um, as a mayor, can you reach out to the Boyd or Newark mayors to ask to borrow this question or this equipment, or does Cynthia have to do it? I mean, I'm just curious.
No, you do it as friends.
No, well, okay.
You
So
know,
I mean,
your
so
pals.
no.
Hey, you know what? You guys got a bunny suit. Can we borrow your bunny suit?
Well,
Sure.
I'm just asking if, I mean, if
You
like
know?
if you know some of the mayor, you know, your acquaintance with them. I'm
Anybody
just saying,
can. It
I just
doesn't
don't want to put it all
necessarily
on
have.
Cynthia. I mean,
Yeah,
any
it
of us.
doesn't
If
have
we
to be
happen
the
know
mayor.
anybody,
It can be any
you know.
individual.
Okay, I'm just.
That's how the bunny thing got started anyway. That had nothing to do with
So with
a city
this,
official, elected or otherwise. Those were individuals that
no,
donated their
I know,
goods and their
I
time.
hear you. So if, I mean, with this,
Well, what I am asking though is that this would be a city sponsored event. Now, whether or not it's paid for out of tax funds, or we could, that's not what I'm suggesting. I'm suggesting donations, reaching out. But it would be a city sponsored event.
Well, I make a motion that you investigate it. How's that?
And a second to investigate.
I'll second that.
All in favor? All right. Anything else? I got a future agenda item. Since it was also brought up, and I had also brought it up myself a week or so ago, a possible ordinance that similar to what Boyd has passed. Because I too have gotten feedback on the Dawson folks that are, you know, even though the council denied the permit, they're still going around to private property owners. And so I presented it when I was at the one council meeting. I had it in my hand, and I would like that put on the agenda for the council to consider an ordinance that would prohibit the drilling or the mining within city limits. Anybody else have a future agenda item?
I have a question
Yes.
that was brought up during public presentations.
Yes.
That it cost money to call in to watch the city hall, the meeting. Is that correct?
I'll look into that. I don't know. I'll have to look and see what happened with the go-to meetings. It may be that they just don't identify it as a toll-free, but it is a toll-free number. So I'll have to look at that. I mean, whatever, we don't get those numbers. They're all generated automatically through the go-to meeting program. So I'll have to look and see what happened with that.
Okay. I mean, just as long as they're not having to pay to call in.
Well, no, but I mean, yeah, I'll look into it.
All right. Anything else? Motion to adjourn? Do we need a motion, or can we just adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Got it. Any seconds?
I'll second that.
All right. All in favor? All right. Let's see. What time is it? Whoa, miracle and miracle. 7:22.
There's food on the table.
We can't be bought with food. Thank you very much.